Right. So our presentation is on automation's effect on the workforce. So a recent study shows that women and men are will both be displaced by technology, with slightly more women being displaced than men. It was previously thought that more men would be impacted than women. However, recent studies have shown that that is not necessarily the case. Fewer women are getting degrees in math, science, and engineering.
That's where the new jobs are from? Are going to
Yeah,
come from?
these are likely the jobs that are like harder to replace.
Okay.
Also, developed countries are at the greatest risk of becoming automated, just because they have these technologies available and they're a little wealthier, so they can afford these robots. In the U.S., 24% of female jobs and 26% of male jobs are at risk of automation.
Did they give you a time horizon for when that's, is it a risk from like now for the next 5, 10 years, or
I
did it say?
do not recall that.
Okay.
So what is the impact of automation? Well, clerical tasks, which are primarily done by women, are likely to be replaced by virtual assistants. Customer service jobs, primarily done by women, are likely to be replaced by cashierless checkouts, artificial intelligence, replacing employees at call centers. Also, factory jobs, which are primarily done by men, are at risk of being replaced by robotic arms. Retail and food service workers are at risk of being replaced by order kiosks. What about automation at McDonald's? Well, McDonald's plans to have touchscreen kiosks in all of its restaurants by 2020.
So these will actually replace workers.
Yeah, they could replace order takers. Right now, they're in the trial stage.
Okay. Have you used one? Either of you guys used one yet?
Yes, I have.
How did you find it?
Well, I got this from I work at McDonald's, so I'm aware of the order kiosk, but I found this article online.
Okay, no, that's good. So do you have these in your store, in your restaurant now?
Yes, I do.
And how are they working?
Fairly good. Right now, a lot of people are kind of shying away from them because they're fairly new.
Okay.
Generally, the older people like to pay cash and use the front counter.
Okay, now are the front counter people still there?
Yes. Right now, this is just like sort of an alternative right now, and it helps move along. I haven't noticed anyone like not being out of a job, but that could change in the future. Maybe they won't have a front counter.
Okay. Interesting.
So these lower skilled jobs are the most likely to be easiest to replace. New technology may boost the amount of customers they can serve, creating more additional work in the process. But whether or not that'll offset the jobs cut by this technology, I don't know yet. Hopefully, this technology will reduce errors. So this change is gradual, so they're not likely to be out of a job tomorrow, but it is something they have to worry about in the near future. McDonald's says so far that they're merely reappropriating workers, that they're just using them in places where they're more necessary.
Okay.
So as I said, older Americans tend to be more resistant to these kiosks. So this could slow the rollout of automated jobs for now, but I think younger Americans tend to be a little more comfortable without the human interaction, and I think that eventually it will catch on. It would be difficult to cut humans out of the process entirely. Machines need to be maintained, and they can't yet perform complex thoughts or problem solve.
Okay.
So management should deal with this by providing better training for new hires so that workers can adapt to new fields, utilizing new technology to make manual labor jobs easier for women, offering more benefits to help women with children, such as healthcare, time off, or daycare assistance. They could offer workplace scholarships to help employees go to college and learn new skills. It's also important to be flexible in work hours to accommodate women with children, such as maybe allowing them to leave a little bit early to pick up their kids from daycare, or allowing them to work during school hours. It's also important to gear job recruitment towards women. If employers don't put their advertisements in the right place, they're not going to get the right people.
Okay. Do you think having less people is going to be part of the problem too? That you got to do this because there's less workers available, so you got to do technology?
Um, yeah, that for now, yeah, I mean, for now that could help offset some of these, the fact that there's not a lot of labor right now.
Okay.
All right, now I'm going
Yep.
to hand you over to Victor for part 2 of the presentation.
All right. First, we're gonna assess the impact on people and positives. First is reduction of costs. The use of machines does not require wages unlike real workers. Also, there's no need for hiring costs since employee replacement is not necessary. Next up is quick checkout. Automation allows for faster checkout. Machines eliminate long lines, reduce checkout time, and keep customers satisfied, increasing retention and increase revenue. Companies won't have to pay employees. Also, sales will go up because automation allows customers to order and check out quicker. Happy consumers return and sales go up. The bad side. Sometimes this technology can be difficult to use since not everyone is familiar with automated service. In fact, older people might be reluctant to use it. Lack of knowledge in the use of these machines could cause frustration. Installation costs. Although machines don't need wages, there is still a cost associated with installation and maintenance. Employees still need to be trained on how to handle and maintain the machines. Solving complex issues. Machines still cannot solve all issues the human can. Automated machines have limited capabilities in this regard. Emotional connection and personal attention. Although there is a lot of customers that choose not to interact with employees, others prefer to do so.
Does it depend? Do you think it depends on what you're selling, whether it's a service or whether it's retail or whether it's food, that we want personal attention in one of those but not the others, or do you think it's across the board?
I think to some extent it's across everything because there are some issues that always arise, such as credit card issues, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is emotional connection. Although there's a lot of customers that choose not to interact with employees, others prefer to do so.
Mm-hmm.
If personal conversations are not possible with machines, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Why women may be more impacted. Female overrepresentation in high-risk occupations, jobs such as cashiers, secretaries, customer service, or clerical positions. Low concentration of women on STEM fields.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think there's less women in STEM fields?
I think it's because more men inclined to go into those fields such as engineering and sciences.
Okay.
So, reason women don't want to go into engineering. I mean, there's some who do, but it's not very common.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But in other fields like accounting, there's a high concentration of women.
Yeah, that's true.
Why do you think? Isn't that similar, or is it in STEM?
I think it's a bit different. I mean, they both are very technical, but
Right.
Perhaps it could
think
be maybe the work hours, maybe. Perhaps I mean, I'm not sure what the hours are for STEM fields, but
Okay.
accounting is a little more. Could be a little. Maybe their hours are a little more set.
Okay.
and next is less time to pursue education because of unpaid paid work. Oftentimes, women have to take care of kids, leaving no time to pursue further education or career opportunities, and reduce access to technology in developing economies.
What do you mean by that? Reduced access.
In developing economies, women
Developing. Okay.
don't have access to technology like we do, for example.
I got you. Yeah, I didn't read the developing. I read it with the ed at the end.
And some of the numbers, women make up 47% of the U.S. workforce. That is 47% versus 53%. Not too far off, but there's still more men nonetheless. Women represent 58% of workers at risk. Although
Very disproportionate.
Yeah. Although they represent a smaller percentage, they also represent a greater percentage at risk. Yeah. There is 160 million women displaced worldwide. No, there will be 160 million women displaced worldwide by 2030. And women fill 72% of clerical positions. Again, women are more at risk than men. And how this might impact our future. Less interaction with real people. There's a positive for a lot of people in this because, well, not everyone likes to interact with real people when going to a shop, per se. But there are others who do prefer connecting with real people. Next, job displacement. People won't necessarily be unemployed, but from clerical to more complex roles. Oh yeah. So people will go from clerical to more complex roles. For example, shifting from to more technical areas. And lastly, the inability to make transitions effectively might cause labor force to drop out. If people cannot have new skills, they might drop out of the workforce altogether.
Do you think that's might have already started happening, that we only have about 63, 64% of the population in the workforce today? Could that be a cause of that?
I think it's one of the causes, but it's not showing strongly for now.
Okay.
It will be a bigger problem later, I think.
Okay.
And here are some of the works cited.
Okay, here's two questions for both of you. The first one, do you think how you, and I'm going out there on a limb and pushing, okay? I read the article as a man. The two of you guys read it as men. Do you think our interpretation of it was biased because we were men?
Sure, definitely.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. How do you think a woman might interpret that? Or should that be the question that we try to elicit from the folks as they're watching this? I like that. Okay, so for those of you watching this, think if you could comment back on the point of view, what your view is if you're a woman as opposed to a man. What do you guys think?
Good.
Okay. Good job. What we're going to do now is I'm going to